Which Smash Bros. Characters can legally become president? A question no one has asked, yet hello, I'm Sam, and I'm here to answer it, because that's what I've chosen to do with my limited time on Earth. There are 3 requirements for being president. You must be 35 years old, you must be a resident of the US for at least 14 years, and you must be a natural-born US citizen. Those last 2 rules are what eliminate a vast majority of characters, limiting us to only those from the US or US-based locations such as Pokémon Alola. To help remedy this, we'll be assuming that if someone lives in the US, they are a natural-born citizen unless otherwise stated. So, who do we have left? Snake fits the bill perfectly, being a natural-born US citizen who's at least 35 years old as of Metal Gear Solid 2. The Mii fighters are completely customizable, so they are eligible. Megaman was built in Dr. Light's lab, which we know is in the US from Mega Man 8, but he's too young. Similarly, Ken, Terry, and Little Mac are all from the US, but they're all too young to be president. R.O.B is our first big discussion here. A vast majority of R.O.Bs were made over 35 years ago, so they're good on that front, but that still leaves the question of birth country. When is a toy born? When it's initially created or when it's unpackaged? I'd personally count R.O.B's birth as his unboxing, since babies are typically considered born when they're removed from the womb. This means R.O.B is a natural-born American citizen and thus can be president. Captain Falcon is up next. As of F0GX, he is 37 years old and lives in the fictional city of Port Town. We know Mute City is a futuristic version of New York City, so at first I assumed Port Town would be similar, but unfortunately it's on a separate planet, so he's not a US citizen. A majority of Pokemon are eligible to be president though. Almost every Smash Bros. Pokemon can be bred in Alola, the Pokemon equivalent of Hawaii, so they all count as natural-born citizens. And since evolution is a separate process from aging, they all can be theoretically 35 years old. The only exceptions to this are Mewtwo, who cannot be bred and thus only comes from Kanto, and Pichu, since it's unclear if baby Pokemon can ever age without evolving. Ness comes from Eagle Land, a parody of the US, but he's clearly too young. Piranha Plant follows a similar logic to Pokemon. They can be found in New Donk City, and theoretically they could be 35, so there's a good chunk of the Piranha Plant population that could be president. Mario and Luigi also lived in New Donk at one point, but we see in Yoshi's Island that they were born in the Mushroom Kingdom. Pyra and Mythra come from a post-apocalyptic version of Earth where America no longer exists, so even if they were born on US soil, which I don't think they were, it wouldn't count since they're not technically citizens. And finally, we have the characters who are too vague to really say. Wii Fit Trainer, Mr. Game & Watch, Villager, and Isabelle. We don't officially know their ages or where they live. So in total, 14 Smash Bros. Characters are eligible for president, 18 if you want to count the vague characters, and all of them would be better than Donald Trump. If you enjoyed this video, check out this playlist where I discuss which tabletop games Smash Bros. Fighters are featured in. Either way though, stay hydrated and I'll see you next time. Bye!